Guys, what's up? It's John. I'm here with my good friend Jeffrey Wittenhagen. We're talking about the Polymega, which they announced recently it's coming out September 12th. This year is kind of an announcement. Uh, Look, I've kind of interesting history about with the system, Jeff. I don't know if you're aware. Years ago, we are talking about like 2016. Brian reached out to me, who runs Polymega. Back then, it was called the Retroblocks. In fact,
Yeah.
if you look at my channel, like I did a video like exclusive Retroblocks announcement, right? And Brian reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, I want to give you some information about this Retroblock system that we're working on." They ended up changing the name because of something trademark issue I think they had, and they changed it to Polymega later.
Hmm.
But it got to the point where he came down to Game on Expo, him and his crew. I think it was 2016, and they had a panel. And like literally right before the panel was going to start, they're like, we don't want to do our panel anymore." And I was like, okay. And it was just weird. And to be honest, like ever since that, I kind of feel like the guy's ghosted me a little bit. Like
Huh.
it was weird, man. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to send a unit to review. You'll be like I promise you'll be one of the first ones to get your hands on it." And
Huh.
crickets, crickets,
Really?
really. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about the situation. I'll give the guy a benefit of doubt, I suppose, but it's kind of weird. I'm sure he's got a lot going on. But a little backstory of this game. It's a module system. I think it was a retail for like $500, 450 or something like that. I gotta
Way too
look.
much money? Yeah.
Yeah, and so we'll play like base CD games. So we'll play like Sega CD. What else? Saturn, Neo Geo,
PlayStation.
PlayStation One, and then you can get these modular things like there's an NES, Genesis, TurboGrafx 16, I believe, and like you basically slide on the top and you can play these cartridges. It is not FPGA, which a
And
lot of
so it's interesting because I've been following this via podcasts and multiple news sources for years. And it was supposed to be FPGA, and it was always a joke that the
right,
system would never come out.
right,
They moved to obviously FPGA is expensive if you're
very
not
expensive.
going to just focus on a singular emulation, because what FPGA does, for those that are watching that don't know, is it will perfectly emulate a hardware specification. So if they're going to do a Super Nintendo like the Super NT that Analog does, it emulates a Super Nintendo perfectly. Or something like a Collector Vision Phoenix might do that for the ColecoVision perfectly. But if you're trying to sit there and say, all right, we're going to use FPGA and emulate that multitude of consoles that you already mentioned, that becomes very expensive. And so if it was $500-600 with FPGA, I would be interested. The fact that it's that price for emulated modules that essentially we can play on a PC. I mean, the gimmick is that it rips and it plays off of and rips your CDs. So, like for example, if you played Neo Geo CD, you could rip it, and all of a sudden you're not doing those slow loading screens that you have with the Sega or Neo Geo CD. So the Neo Geo CD is super slow with the 1x or 2x CD speeds. It's like super slow, but
Right.
it's fast. The other cool thing about it is that, and it's still a gimmick, is that you can take patches from the internet, apply those patches to your disc. So, like, say, a PlayStation 1 game from Japan translation patch, you can actually play your real games with translation patches on the Polymega. However, still gimmickry because it's still emulation. So it's cool, but it's not as cool as it could have been if it was FPGA.
Yeah, I think the decision was because of cost at the end of the day, right? That's why they changed it.
Sure.
It's still really expensive. I think the unit looks really cool. I mean, the 3D models they had. I actually met up with Brian at E3 one year, and he showed me like a prototype controller. I got to hand it. I was like one of the first to like see the controller, feel the controller. So that was cool. I mean, I'm not gonna knock the guy. I'm not gonna hold my breath that I'm gonna actually get a system, But when I don't know, it's just kind of weird. The whole ghosting thing kind of is a little frustrating, but I get it. You got a lot going on with
Hmm.
him and stuff, whatever. But yeah, I mean, emulation has gone a long way. Has gone a long way. Like, right? I mean, you can play like we've talked about the N2 Plus, the Raspberry Pis. Like, you can emulate Saturn really well. You can emulate Dreamcast very well at this point, right? It's caught up really good, especially if you have a PC. You can emulate. Shoot, I'm playing Xbox 360 games perfectly on my PC right now. emulating. You
PS2,
know,
PS3, yeah.
right? I mean,
Wii U.
they emulate really well. So I don't knock. I think it's caught the point. Now FPGA isn't new technology. I was looking it up. Do you understand like what what's its abbreviation for? Do you understand what FPGA means?
I don't
Curious
know
if
what
you
the
know.
abbreviation is, but I do know
It's
that it's essentially they're, tinkering with actual chips and hardware to make it
yeah,
as
it
possible.
field programmable gate array is what it
Okay.
stands for.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And
and it's
so in other words, it takes those gate arrays and it programs them to emulate a
yeah,
hardware set.
and the technology has been around since like '84, like back in like the Macintosh days, right? So it's been around. It's not like new technology. It's just gotten really popular because Analog Interactive has released their consoles. I know like Retro USB did the NES with the AVS. What's that called? That NES system they did?
AVS.
AVS, yeah.
Hmm.
So that's we've done CollectorVision games. We've done our FPGA ColecoVision, which you can also play Atari 2600 games on it. So you get more reliability with FPGA when it comes to emulation. Um, but it's not, I mean, I feel like emulation's caught up to the point where it's not like going to be a huge difference. Like, I don't think like these games are not going to play very well. I know a lot of people are upset with the fact that it's not FPGA. So we'll see. It is really expensive though, you know. So
So the main thing why FPGA for me is better is
mhm,
because modern displays.
right.
So if I'm playing NES or Super Nintendo and it's emulation, there's lag. And I can tell because I played them and I played them at a higher level.
Mhm,
If it was a system that I'm not really used to or like a PlayStation game,
mhm,
I'm probably okay. So actually, the Polymega base unit, I'd probably be okay with because I'm not playing it for pinpoint accuracy on pixel by
right,
pixel movement.
right.
But with the FPGA, what they do is they can also adjust the timing so it works for modern displays, which is very attractive for me as a retro gamer. Nintendo has figured it out with their NES and Super Nintendo Online because there's no lag on Punch Out. And that's usually my baseline. If I can play Mike Tyson's Punch Out and set the world record for Gabby J on it, there's no lag. And I can do that on the Switch Online. I cannot do that on most of the emulators. I can do that on the AVS, which is FPGA.
That's Super Punch Out or regular Punch Out? Because you mentioned Gabby
Regular.
J.
Yep. So Glass Joe on Punch Out. Correction.
Yeah. Okay.
Gabby,
Okay.
because I had the world record for Gabby J for a while
Oh, do
back
you?
in the day.
Okay. Because he
Back
was
in the
Super
day.
Nintendo, and then yeah,
Yeah,
Glass
yeah,
Joe
yeah,
was
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I get my wires crossed all the time. I mean, Pieceman places. Pieceman places.
Gabby J. Yeah.
Why I
Yeah.
said Pieceman places was Tetris World Championships. I said that when I was doing commentary during the finals.
Well, games like
Pieceman.
Punch Out, you need to have that perfect pixel perfect like timing because if one
Yeah,
delay, especially playing Mike Tyson, you're done. Like
yeah.
he does his little thing and then he punches whatever his sign is.
Well,
You're
and
done.
within the Super Nintendo, it's even every single direction or button press will adjust how the CPU reacts to you. And so
Okay.
you're talking about quarters and fractions of a second difference in
Right.
time.
Right. So that does
Yeah.
make it different. So yeah,
And I
good
set
good.
that one live when I did it back in the day.
So are you going to be picking up a Polymega? I take it not based on.
In all honesty, so I saw a demo unit played by my buddy DJ Medina Saramaru. He's been at
Yeah.
Game On multiple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it on his channel for a while. I think they were like mailing around that demo unit. But like I saw him playing it. It looks really cool. It's just very, very expensive. And that's my thing. Like, if I'm gonna spend $600, I'm gonna spend it on a future video we need to do on the Steam Deck
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the Steam Deck.
I got mine pre-ordered by the way. Steam
Me
Deck.
too. Me
Yeah,
too.
my Steam.
So,
I think it's like what? No, is it coming out like February next year? I think is when they're shipping it.
depends on when you pre-ordered it. If you got in the very
Yeah,
first batch, you can get them at the end of this year. I expect it to shift to the right though. Like
yeah.
just because there's, with the whole pandemic and everything else, like all the production is shifted to the right. But I'm okay with that. But yeah, Steam Deck to me is going to be the next piece, and I'm not even going to put like emulation on it or anything. I'm going to use it for Steam, and hopefully they have Game Pass on it out of the box. If not, I might put Windows on
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet.
it,
So
dude.
yeah,
But yeah, like so when it comes to going back to the Polymega, if it would have been a cheaper base model and then with all because you got all the modules you still got to buy. So
Yeah.
to me, like if it was a cheaper base model, that would have been really cool. And then if it got me, I would start building my game collection on it, and it would be cool. I've always wanted to have, my own game collection where I could display it and then be able to play it without having to pull them all out, and my actual games that I own. I mean,
So the base model, just the unit itself, is $449, $450,
yeah.
and
And
you can get the bundle with all the attachments and controller, whatever. It's worth $650, so $200 more. Every base unit's $80, which is actually not too bad. Like if you just want
the
a
base units are
power,
fine.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I think you need the base unit to play the modular sets, right? You can't just purchase the modular sets by themselves. So you need to have so you need to invest in the four. So I feel like if the base unit was like 150 or something along those lines, or even like 100,
$200, $200 or lower.
200 bucks and lower, that would be a better. I mean, because unless it's super a lot more expensive to produce those than it is to produce the power modules they have. Like they have a power module, which is an NES, super module, which is Super Nintendo, the Mega module, which is Genesis, and then they have the Turbo module, which is TurboGrafx.
So let's talk Dirty Pirates versus Polymega, right? So Polymega, you just told me was 650, right?
Yeah.
Steam Deck, 650 for the highest module, the
Right.
highest one.
Right.
And you can essentially put Windows in every single system on there, and it emulates games at 30 frames per second in 4K.
Right.
So it can play all those systems that are on the Polymega, plus all the expanded ones that we just talked about, essentially. So Dirty Pirate wins. like you could literally like I'm just saying though, like I can play it on my PC, all of that stuff with emulation. Now, if you were talking FPGA, we're in a different realm, but we're not. We're talking emulation, and we can put emulation on a PC, on a Steam Deck, on anything else.
Right.
And that Steam Deck right there, you have it portably too. And then you can put it on the dock and put it on your big screen as well. So it's just like your Switch.
Just like your Switch.
But it covers Steam, and I have tons and tons of Steam games that are underutilized.
Yeah.
So like so many Steam games.
I wonder if it's making Nintendo a little nervous, but probably not. Nintendo's Nintendo. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you would think it might, but in reality, the Steam Deck's its own beast. It's in its own realm. They're not doing number one. They're not doing physical media. I mean, so that's one piece. But number two is it's its own ecosystem. Like Nintendo Switch is a closed ecosystem that is a Nintendo console. This is completely wide open. All the pieces you can attach. I can use my earpods with the Steam Deck. That's amazing. I'm going to be able to do a lot with that. But the thing is that like, why would you go towards something like a Polymega for emulation at that price point? If the price point was slashed at like in half, like we were saying, or lower, with all the module pieces add-ons, it would be a lot more palatable. I wouldn't say that we wouldn't still have the same concerns, but I might jump down because I'm a retro gamer. I got games everywhere. Like I might be willing to take that dive versus $650 because I'm gonna want all the things. $650 is a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. And I mean, you can N2 Plus will cost you about $100, right? You get a external hard drive, maybe $100, $150. So you can play everything on the N2 Plus or a Raspberry Pi, right?
Yeah.
And so you could probably you could probably spend half as much and still have the same experience, to be honest with you.
How much is the Odroid Super right now? Like $80?
Something like that. Yeah.
I think it's like $80.
That's 100.
And that plays it doesn't play in the disc-based stuff, but it plays all the retro stuff and arcade stuff. And again, Dirty Pirate wins out. Like if you want me to do it legit, it has to be cost advantageous.
I'll give them credit. I mean, the pandemic obviously has delayed things. Understandable. It's delayed a lot of things, but they've kept pushing this. Even before the pandemic, it kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. So they did announce September 12th. It's coming out in 9 days. I'll wait to see if I want to get one. I want to see it shipped out first. I'm not holding my breath on getting a review copy at this point, Jeff. Doing this if they would, but no love lost there. It's all good. But man. Well,
and it is a cool item. Like honestly, like I dig what they're doing as a creator. I dig what they're doing as for the retro gaming community. It's really cool. It's just I don't think it's gonna latch on or hook people like they could if it was more affordable.
Agreed. So, all right, guys, leave a comment below. Let us know what you guys think. Subscribe, comment.
Let us know if we're crazy.
Let us know if we're crazy. Absolutely. All right, guys, see you soon. Take care and game on.